Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges, and joining us is an NCAA champion. He is now an NCAA All-American for the California Golden Bears. He's an NAIA golfer, and he is a Belgian swimmer as well, looking to represent them at this year's World Championships. Today, we're sitting down with Lucas Henveaux. How's it going, Lucas?
I'm good. I'm doing good. How about you, Coleman?
I'm doing well. Really excited to sit down and chat with you. Our Yin Lee did a really great written article about you and about your journey from swimming to golfing, back to swimming, and all the places that sport has taken you, and just kind of your backstory and how you ended up at Berkeley this semester and competing for Cal and helping them win a national title. And I just wanted to piggyback off of that and get a similar interview going on video, and just get our audience your story in that format. So hopefully this won't be too repetitive, but I do want to hear about your past, present, and future. I'm going to start with the present. Right now, you're in Flagstaff, 2-week training camp at altitude with Tom Rushton, Siobhan Howie, among others. Can you tell us a little bit about why you're there and how the training camp has gone so far?
Yeah, so I'm in Flagstaff right now because my trials, my Belgian World Championship trials, are coming up in about 2 weeks. And because Cal was off with their spring break, I wanted to get like some good training in. I responded really well to altitude. So I'm doing this little 2-week camp with Tom Rushton, Siobhan. You have Gregor Zurich in that team, and a lot of Anastasia Gorbenko also. And then I'll go back to Belgium for my trials in about 2 weeks. And I mean, so far it's been going really good. I've adapted to the altitude pretty well after like 1 week. And getting some good training in, and then I'll start to like taper a little bit at the end of this week, like going into my trials.
I feel like that's kind of a unique space. We just had Canadian trials where a lot of the swimmers competing at men's or women's NCAAs can kind of taper down for NCs and then kind of just continue that taper onto their Canadian trials. This is, like three-ish weeks removed from NCAAs. So it's kind of that weird time where you are getting some good training in at altitude, and then you're going to have to kind of re-taper. Have you ever done a process like this before? I mean, I'm guessing maybe Pac-12s to NCAAs was similar, but have you ever done a double taper in this time frame?
Not really, no. I mean, for Pac-12s, because I'm like more on the distance end, I didn't really taper that much. And then going into NCs, I got like a good taper in. And yeah, as you said, it's kind of a tricky situation having like the trials about like 3.5 weeks after the end of NCs, because it's like just too short to get like a really good training block in, and just too long to like try to hold the taper all the way to there. So that's why I thought maybe doing some altitude would be good, because I could get like the benefits that I usually get from that. And yeah, just like these 2 weeks. It's going to be about 2-week training camp and then like 10-day taper. I've never really done it, but I'm really excited to see like how that's going to work.
So what kind of training have you been doing with Tom and his crew the last few weeks, or the last couple weeks in Flagstaff? Just like you said, kind of trying to toe that line.
Yeah, so I mean, the volume isn't up that much. We're doing about 55K per week, something like that. We're doing like quite a bit of race pace and some distance per stroke work, trying to like set up the stroke, well for like the 2 free to 4 free that I'm going to be racing. Those are going to be my main events at my trials. And I mean, it's been really good because I mean Siobhan's pushing pretty hard, and Gregor is pretty fast as well. So it's very good. And I mean, I don't think I need to go back to like really high volume like I did maybe in the fall or something like that. So just yeah, holding about 55K per week in 10 sessions, and yeah, it's been going good.
What does a high volume week look like for you? Is that 70K, 80K?
Yeah, probably in like 80 to 85K range. We did like quite a few of these weeks in the fall, some at altitude as well. Um, yeah, I feel like it's a lot more common in Europe to do these kind of weeks than in the US. But yeah, that's and I mean at Cal I was still like swimming like maybe 65 per week, like 65, 70. So I was still like doing like quite a lot of volume. Um, but yeah, I mean here I think as we move like towards trying to do more race base, obviously the volume is going to come down a bit.
Yeah. I'm curious, when did you arrive in Berkeley? Were you there this fall or did you just arrive in January?
No, so I was supposed to get there in the fall, but I had like very like a lot of visa issues because like my when I got approved for my visa, my passport got lost on the way back. So I had to get a new passport and stuff. So it was pretty bad. So I arrived like January 20th, something like that. And yeah, then I went to, I mean, I just did two dual meets with Cal, one against USC, one against Stanford, and then to Pac-12s and then to NCs.
How did you feel like you were able to adjust in that short of a time period? Just in the January month, right? You went to two dual meets. You already, I think you had already broken a school record after those two meets in the thousand. But you know, it's like how do you first of all, how did you get acclimated to the culture? You know, were you already kind of did you already feel a part of the team after knowing that you were going to be there? And then even though you weren't able to come over, you know, were you still looking at times and looking at records and kind of talking to the guys and seeing how they operated? And then just how did you acclimate to living in the US and competing at such a high level?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't really like I didn't really know anyone on the team apart from I'd met Bjorn at Europeans last year, and so I like talked to a few guys, but like really not that much during the fall. But then when I got there, like within 2 days, I felt like I'd been like part of the team for like 4 years, or you know, it was like the guys really um, embraced me. I think it was kind of because I was like the guy that was like probably doing like a little bit more volume and stuff. So when they'd get out of the pool, you know, they'd be like on deck, like watching me swim and stuff, and that was kind of cool. And yeah, I felt like really a part of the team, like with like immediately. And also, I lived with the sophomores, so like we're in a house with like 8 people. So I mean, I was immediately like with 9 people, excuse me. So I mean, I immediately like got like very close to them. And yeah, after like I swam pretty good at my first dual meet against USC, and then I broke the school record in the thousand against Stanford. And then I mean, from there on, like I really felt that we were really like working together, and like the culture was really great. Like just going towards NCs, you know, we were just like trying to focus everything on NCs, and that's obviously what we did. And I mean the culture that we have at Cal at like I mean in the practices, in the pool, in the gym, and stuff like that. I mean, like everyone, it's I've never seen a place where everyone has each other's backs that much. You know, like we're like 3 lanes over, and everyone's like screaming, "Come on, guys, let's go!" I mean, it's it doesn't matter what you're doing if you're in the sprint lanes in the middle distance, if you're doing like a 6K a distance set or whatever, like everyone's like really motivating each other. And that's something I never really had before in Belgium, and something that I mean really helped me thrive, I think. Yeah, in Berkeley.
Yeah, so let's take it back a step. We'll get back to Berkeley, I guess chronologically. So, tell me about you starting to swim or your relationship with the water in Belgium and how you kind of came up through the ranks in Belgium and what that looked like specifically from a training perspective. Because as you said, it sounds like it was pretty different than even maybe a club team in the US?
Yeah, I mean, so I started. So my dad's a seven-time Olympic coach. So he's been around the block. He owns the pool, like 2 minutes from my house. So I always started. I mean, I started my life swimming basically. Like I was like in the pool all the time, and I was also playing golf. So at that time, I was like kind of doing both, like training in both. But that was up to until maybe like 12 years old. I was doing both. And then I like continued swimming, maybe doing like once a days and stuff. But like I progressed really fast until I was like 12. And then I got like really not great from like 12 to 15, you know. I like didn't improve at all. And it was like kind of demotivating. And I don't know, like I saw some other guys in Belgium like going really fast, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I'm just like not on their level or whatever. And at the same time, I started like playing golf a little better, like improving. So then I like went really all in like my last 2 years of high school, and then I did like 1 year in a boarding school in Spain, playing golf there, and then 1 year in the US where I played college golf. And then I didn't really, I mean, I kind of liked it. Um, Hugo Gonzalez jokes with me and he says, so you weren't good enough at swimming, so you quit. And then you weren't good enough at golf, so you quit. So you're just a quitter, he says. And it's pretty funny, yeah, so I quit after 1 year of college golf and I went back to Belgium. And like during that time, because my dad owned the pool during COVID, like we could swim and like no one else was like swimming around us. And we were like, we could go and like practice. So that's when I like, actually I got back in the pool.
Hold
And
on, let's pause for a second.
yeah,
So you played 1 year of golf.
yeah.
Why did you ultimately? I mean, did the pandemic affect you quitting, or did you just want to stop anyway? I mean, what ultimately led to you,
Yeah.
leaving after just 1 year?
I mean, the thing is, golf is kind of we're like that where there's a lot of hope associated with golf. Like on any given day, I could like, the way I used to play, on any given day, I could have like beaten Tiger Woods. If he had a bad day and I had a good day, like that's in swimming. If you're like a NAIA swimmer, you can't beat Popovich on any given day. That's not how it works. But in golf, like it's actually doable. So like if you play really well, you shoot 66 or whatever, and Tiger Woods doesn't play that well, you can beat him. So like I always had a lot of hope, when you have good rounds and stuff, you're very hopeful that you like one day can get to that level. But the margins are so fine between like college golfer and like playing on the PGA Tour, and getting like it's maybe 2 or 3 strokes around. It's like the ball rolls over the edge or it goes in. That's the margins are so fine that it's and it's really hard to get from that like college level to like playing on the PGA Tour and like making money on the PGA Tour and stuff. So that was always my goal, was playing on the PGA Tour. But when I came to the US and I like saw my teammates and I wasn't like playing, I was like, maybe I traveled twice with the team to like some meets, I mean some tournaments, and the rest of the time I'd just like be at home practicing, and while they were like competing like in Georgia or whatever. And I like noticed how many people like try to go for golf in the US. It's like crazy, and like how deep the competition is. And at the same time, I didn't really like the university, so I was like, oh well, let's just go back in Belgium, continue playing golf like more for fun, and like do some like really good quality studies, which is like yeah what I did, and that's when I went back.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'm glad you explained that because I don't know anything about golf. Like I've never played around in golf in my life. And but I was also curious about the difference between an NIAI versus a D1 golfer and a D1 golfer versus a pro golfer. So thank you, because I know obviously the difference for swimming,
Yeah.
it's mostly just times, but thank you for clearing that up, or explaining that. So you decide to go back. COVID lockdown hits. You're swimming in your dad's pool because your dad owns the pool. Yeah. So please continue on your
So
journey from there.
from then on, so I'm like in my first year of uni back in Belgium, right? And so like right at the middle of my first year, I'm like living at this point, I'm like living basically a normal student life. I'm just like going to school and stuff. And then like in March of my first year, COVID hits. And so I'm like back living with my parents and there's like nothing to do. But like my dad's coaching my sister and like the rest of like their squad there. And I'm like, well, there's nothing else really to do. So let's kind of get in the pool and stuff. And so like I started like swimming every day. Like we do like one session a day, maybe like 5K or something during like basically the whole, I mean, from like maybe the end of March until like the whole way through COVID. And then I guess at that point, like the group that my dad was building again was like getting like, I mean, they were really young. They were like 14 years old, but they were like pretty good and they were like really motivated. So I kind of like joined that group and I was training and did some like little small competitions, but I was like so slow. I was like, I think if I remember, I was like maybe at the end of 2020, I was maybe like 156 short course meters into two free. Like it was crazy slow. And but then in January, I got actually like a pretty good opportunity to like train with this Belgian girl, Valentine Dumont. Maybe you know her. She like just broke the national record in the two free, and
Yeah.
so I actually got the opportunity to train at the national center with her for a little bit, and I did a little more training, and then after like a few months, went back trained with my dad again, and then I was really hooked on swimming again. So that's when I started like doing like in the mid like start of 2021, I started like doing 10 sessions a week, doing like three gym and stuff, and like really like basically living like a pro swimmer, right? And just like still going to school and stuff, like trying to combine both. Like I started to really train well in 2021 there.
So that's an interesting turning point. How did you combine athletics and academics in that situation? Because obviously now you kind of know what it is to be a student athlete in the United States, and I think that's a pretty unique experience for a lot of people who choose to go that route. So how would you compare it being a student athlete, quote unquote, in Belgium, going to school while being, as you said, kind of living that pro athlete lifestyle versus the typical United States NCAA student athlete?
I mean, I feel like in Europe it's basically undoable unless you get really lucky. And I got really lucky because it was during COVID. So like all of our classes were online. So like I could like either like, just if I had 4 hours of classes a day, I didn't need to like go to uni, spend some time doing that. I could just like go on my laptop, do some homework. The pool's 2 minutes away. So like that's really the only way I could have like combined it. And you see like a lot of Belgian swimmers right now, what they're doing is like they're maybe like taking a like reduced course load and like extending your studies from like 3 years to 6 years, and that's something that maybe I didn't want to do, but then I got really lucky because it was during COVID. And then when you compare that to the US, where you maybe have like 20 hours of school a week and you can practice 20 hours. Well, you have a very like you have a filled your schedule is pretty full, but you can like easily combine it. Like we get out the pool at like I don't know if we get out the pool at 8:30. Well, you go to class from like I don't know 9 to 1, and then you come back, have lunch, have your second practice, do some homework at night, and it's like it's a lot easier to combine it in the US than in Europe, because in Europe you can have like up to 35, 40 hours of classes per week. So yeah, it can be a lot. But then the university I was at was a little bit less, but still like it's basically it's really hard to combine both in Europe.
Yeah. And that's why I was curious, right? Because I mean, I think even in the US, people who do both, it's a lot to have on your plate.
Yeah.
But I would think that if they're not in the same system, kind of working together,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
a lot of universities kind of make that combination happen. And, we have the term student athlete because people put them both in the same system and same priority lane versus having them can be completely separate.
Yeah.
it sounds like that would be a challenge.
Yeah,
So,
one of the real problems also is like if you want to go on training camps or like go to some meets or whatever, well, you can't do that in Europe because you can't like just skip like 3 weeks of classes or it just doesn't work like that. But as you said, because it's like combined and they work together at the university in the US, well, it's a lot easier to like I mean get excused for to go to Pac-12s or NCs or other dual meets or whatever.
hmm, yeah, yeah, and again, that's something that having never been exposed really to European schooling systems, I didn't know. So you start living this pro athlete lifestyle while going to school full time, and then how does your swimming progress for the next couple of years, really until you kind of meet David Marsh and sit down with him?
Yeah, so I mean, from like, I got like, oh, I mean, it's like still in the grand scheme of things, like pretty slow. Like in April 2021, I go like sub 4 minutes for the first time. I think I go like 3:59 long course. And I was like maybe 3.5 months into me like doing 10 sessions a week and like actually training like a lot. So I mean, it was kind of encouraging because I mean, at that time, I think I was maybe like second in Belgium or something. And so after like only 3.5 months, it was like pretty encouraging. But then like I guess I didn't like progress as fast as I wanted to because like I was like really skinny, like real I mean like no strength at all. And that took like a lot more time to like develop. And yeah, so then I went, I just did the season in Belgium, I went to like nationals in the summer, and then short course nationals in the winter. And I was like getting like some decent times. Like I was like 15 minutes in the short course 1500 and then like 3:46 I think short course in 2021. And then after that 2022 I continue, I do my training camps, I do my training and stuff. And then at my nationals in April of 2022, that was like kind of my breakout meet, I guess. So I go 1:48.3 long course, I go 3:51 in the 400. I go 50.0 and in the 100 and like 8:05, I think 8:05 in the 800. So that was like my best meet. And at that point I was like, okay, well, you're like really close to like the European Championship cuts, like not that far from like the World Championship cuts and stuff. Like you can do this. Like you can actually try to like live a lot, like have a life in swimming, have something to do. And then about a month later, that's when I meet like David Marsh.
Okay. At that point in April of 2022, do you feel like school was going well also?
Yeah, yeah. So then I'm like my last because undergrad is only 3 years in Europe, so
Okay.
I'm in my last year of university. Everything's going well. I'm like getting good grades and stuff. So at that point, I'm like thinking of what I'll do the year after. If I'm doing a master's, if I'm like I didn't really think about going to the US at that point yet. Like I was like kind of trying to figure out what I was going to do later. But yeah, school was going really well.
Nice. Again, something didn't realize undergrad 3 years
Mhm.
in Europe or in Belgium at least. That's awesome.
It's mostly
So, so yeah, tell us this origin story of meeting David Marsh because I've heard it secondhand and it's a great story, but I want to hear it from the horse's mouth.
yeah, it's pretty funny. So, um, my dad and Dave Marsh have this like this friend, this a common friend, and this guy is like celebrating the 50 years of his club or whatever, and he's like setting up an event where we have to race a 33-yard freestyle because their pool is like 33 yards. So like then he invites like all the best swimmers in Belgium, like not all the best, but like a few of the best swimmers in Belgium, and Tony Ervin and Dave Marsh are there. And I get there, I'm like, whoa, like I know these people, I'm like, this is crazy. Like Anthony Ervin, like he two-time Olympic champ, like 16 years apart. He's like right there. I'm gonna race him. And so I'm like swimming. So I go say hi to Dave Marsh, just like introduce myself. And then I like do some easy swimming before like to warm up. And I can see he's like looking at me swimming. And then we do this race, this 33 yard. I actually lose to this other Belgian guy and then we just go like have have some drinks at this common friend's house with Dave Marsh, Tony Ervin, my dad, and this other Belgian swimmer. And I'm like talking for like 3.5 hours to like Tony Ervin and Dave Marsh about like technique, about like training, about like feel for the water. Because Tony is like, from what I've heard, he's like a magician, you know. He like feels the water like no one else, and like he's telling me these crazy stories about like, you know, when he was swimming and like giving like examples of drills and stuff like that for like, and I'm like really into it, like really interested. And I think um that kind of struck Marsh a little bit because I'm like I'm asking questions for like 3.5 hours nonstop, you know. And I think he was like, "Oh, this kid is like really motivated. Like he's eager to learn and stuff." And then like he asked me for my number, and in the next like few days, I got some like messages from like some universities in in America, and then about like a month later, I get like a text from Matt Bow to ask if I wanted to like join Cal to come swim for them. And so I think that moment, like in that guy's living room, talking with Marsh and Tony for like 3.5 hours, kind of like rerouted my whole swimming career. So it's kind of cool.
No kidding. I mean, that is really cool, especially because you got to be at that event, and
Yeah.
yeah, just it seems like the stars aligned a little bit. And I've spent a little bit of time with Tony and with Dave Marsh, and
Yeah.
they know their swimming stuff, that's for sure. So that's super cool. So then you end up going to Cal, obviously. In that, so the fall, you're supposed to get there. You have visa, passport issues. How are you training in the fall? Or is it just by yourself? Is it with your dad again?
Yeah, I'm training with my dad and my club. I mean, I guess we're in Belgium. Like my dad's club is probably the right now the best club in Belgium. So we have the two national centers and then my dad's club basically, which I mean, I guess these are like the three best places to train. And so I'm training there with that group of like young swimmers that are like really motivated. You know, they're pretty good. They go to like European juniors and stuff. So like they're really good swimmers. And so we're doing some like altitude camps and stuff. So like the training is good. And I'm like in pretty good shape. I go to my nationals. I was like really sick at my nationals and I swam like all the events. So it was like really draining. And then like 2 weeks later, I go to like another event and like another meet and I hit the FINA A time there for Melbourne. But it was like just too late, so I wasn't selected. So I'm like training through everything then. And then yeah, in like the end of December, I go on this training camp again to altitude to Sierra Nevada for 3 weeks, and then from there I go straight to Berkeley.
Wow, what a journey.
Yeah, a lot of traveling going on. Yeah.
No kidding. Yeah, I mean that's just a lot of movement. So then you get to Berkeley. You break a school record in your second swim meet slash dual meet ever. You you know feel camaraderie with the guys. Tell me about championship season. Because I've never been to a Pac-12 championships, but especially with Arizona State swimming the way they did at that meet, and breaking Cal's streak as well as winning their first ever Pac-12 title. Just what was that meet experience like for you as an individual as well as a member of the Cal Bears?
Yeah. So I mean, going after our last dual meet on Stanford, I could really see like a shift in like purpose in everyone. You know, like really starting to like pinpoint like NCAAs. You know, that was like the main goal. Obviously, we had the conference meet before, but like the main goal was like trying to win NCAAs, right? But then we go to Pac-12s, and obviously some people are like not rested at all. Some people are like, you saw Destin with like a big beard, and so I think that kind of showed everyone that we were really like going all in for NCs. But obviously, we still want to win. We still want to win Pac-12s, right? We still want to win. We still want to win the meet, and it doesn't really go. I mean, the best way for us. But like ASU was swimming like really well. Like Leon was breaking records, and like the whole team, like their depth was crazy. They were putting like 4 or 5 people up, in the in some of the A finals. Like they were swimming, like props to them. They were swimming really, really well. And we had some like team meetings with Dave where like he's like, okay, we can try to go win this meet. And like we're still it's not like we didn't care about Pac-12s, right? We still like tried to win every single session and we really did our best to like go all in and try to win Pac-12s. But then at some point we kind of noticed, okay, it might be a little different. It might be a little tough to win this. So now let's try to like advance our best team to NCs, right? And so maybe like qualify some more people to NCs. And then after Pac-12s, there was really like a different energy, I felt like, going into NCAAs. Like we knew we could still like we weren't like feeling down or anything because we lost against ASU, and they had a great meet at Pac-12s, but like we still knew we had like a really good shot of winning this if we like had the right swims and if everyone like swam well.
Yeah. I didn't ask you this before. How do you feel like the transition to yard swimming was for you?
I don't think it's that different to short course meters.
Mm.
It's like a stroke and a half less maybe. And I always train short course meters, so I'm like yeah, like pretty used to that. What I was really like shocked by though, it's like I knew how good like Americans were underwater, but like when I got there and like everyone's just taking in practice like 6 kicks or 5 kicks of every wall. I'm like, how do you guys even breathe? Like you only have you go out. I mean, you break out at like halfway down the pool. So you only have like 8 strokes or whatever. How do you even get enough air to like swim this? Like it's like when I see Marchand, like he goes it's too free and he like breathes three times a lap. I'm like, how do you even get enough air? So that was like kind of I was like experimenting, trying to like triple breathe into walls and stuff to like try to get enough air. But I don't think it's like that different to short course meters. And I mean, we were still training like 3 times a week, all the way through to NCs. We're still doing like long course 3 times a week. So I didn't think the training was that much different. No.
Mhm. Okay. Yeah. I'm just always curious again,
Yeah.
having never swam yards. The underwaters
Yeah.
is certainly a different beast, I think. But getting into NCAAs, was that meet, the first day or two, especially being a member of the Cal Bears, did that meet exceed your expectations for it?
Yeah. It did because like I went to Euros last year and there were like, I don't know, like 8,000 people in the stands. It was like a massive Italian crowd, right? And here you get into like the Minnesota University of Minnesota pool, and you see like the first. I remember the first 2 days I walked in, I was like, it's really not that many that much stands. I'm like, everyone's just telling me about like how crazy this experience is, how loud it gets, but like I'm seeing there's like five rows of stands on each side. And then I get to like the relay on Wednesday night, and I just see like the Cal Bears, and like we're probably the biggest like fan base, like I mean fan section in the stands. And I hear them scream, and I'm like, oh my God, like this is crazy. Like this is so much louder than Euros. Like it's like a tenth of the people in the stands, but it's like so much louder and so much more energy. And um like everyone in the stands just like really rooting for these like 18 people, this team of guys. And that was like really, really different. Like the energy is crazy different. And then the intensity in the mornings is something I've never seen. Like, you go and you see like Popovich, he's going like 146 in the morning at Euros. It's like he's just chilling, or like some of the other Italian guys, they go like 147, or it doesn't really matter. But here, like everyone's swimming their hearts out in the morning, to like make sure you're in that A final. And I kind of like, I mean that's one thing I didn't do as well in like the 500, because like I got ninth and like right out of the A final. And like the energy in the mornings and like the fan base, like at I don't know 10 in the morning, how crazy they go is like that was like it really inspires you to swim fast. I feel like it's really nice.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like that's an acquired skill? I have to assume that that's like a mindset you have to train yourself, I guess, mind and body to get accustomed to, of swimming that fast in prelims or approaching prelims with that type of aggression or just assertiveness to get into an A final.
That's definitely something that I feel like I lacked experience with. Because I mean, again, I go to my nationals in Belgium. I don't really need to go that fast in the morning. It's like, and then you're obviously going all in and like putting all your emotional energy into like that final swim. But here you got to like really put all your emotional energy, all your focus on that morning swim, like make sure you're up in that A final. And it's kind of a completely different, yeah, it's a completely different mindset. And I mean, I fell victim for it because I go 4:11, miss it by 1/10, and Gabe Jet is in the A final, and well, I go faster than him at night, but he's scoring more points than me. So like, you know, you can you could go 5 minutes at night and still score 11 points. It just doesn't matter. So like really trying to like focus on being really fast in the morning is, and I think it's a good skill to acquire for, when you get to like international meets, if you ever get to the Olympics, because you're gonna have to swim fast in those prelims. So it's um it's a good skill to have, yeah.
Was there any piece of advice or any wisdom any of the coaches or even your teammates gave you after that prelim swim, 500 prelim swim, heading into that night?
Yeah, I mean they were like, obviously I'd been faster at packs and stuff, and they were like, try to. I was the first one going out for the team, so they were telling me stuff like, try to like bring the energy and like give energy to the team with your swim. Like try to like, if you can win this, it will be like, if you can win this B final, this consolation final, it will get like all the guys going, all the guys pumped. Gabe's gonna go after there, in the A final, and all the guys in the 2 IM and the 50 free are gonna like feed off of that. That's some of the things that the coaches were saying. And yeah, just like they were telling me like, try to swim your own race and like not think of, if you swim your best race, you should win this B final. And so that's what I like try to do, like try to focus kind of on me, swim the race well strategically, and yeah, I got my hand first in that B final.
Yeah. So then moving through the rest of that meet, can you just take me through your events and how you felt about them and how you approached them after having that experience of getting ninth in the morning and then winning that B final?
I mean, the next day I was actually swimming the 4 IM. I guess like my 4 IM training is pretty good, but like my 4 IM racing isn't that good. So it was like kind of up to, am I going to swim the 2 free or the 4 IM? And then we ended up going 4 IM. I finaled that Pac-12, so like that's why I went 4 IM at NC's. And I mean, I think I went like a 1/10 PB in the morning, in the 4 IM, but that was like 20th, so I didn't make it back. But then it was like, I mean, it's like, I don't know how these guys like go like 3:28 and like you go like 3:30. It's like so fast. Like if you take it to meters, if you try to convert it to meters, it's like so far under the world record. Not
Right.
even,
It's stupid. Yeah.
yeah, it's stupid fast. And so I mean, for me, I got a little confidence knowing that like I'm, even like without really training that much, I'm still doing a 1/10 PB. So I got like some confidence for the next day, which was my mile. And my mile was kind of tricky because I was like in the third or fourth fastest heat. So I was
Mhm.
like kind of swimming. Yeah, I wasn't with like the big guns, if you want to call it that. But yeah, I had a really good mile. I went 14:44, which I mean, I'm not really a miler. Dave Marsh wants me to be a miler, but I'm really not. I'm really not like, I don't know. I don't really do that, especially not in meters. So it was good for me. I got ninth again. So kind of sad not to get into that top eight like twice, but obviously like I was done with my mile at like 4:45 or something, and then I could like just watch the last day unfold and like watch these guys just tear it up on that final day. I mean, they teared it up in the final morning and they teared it up on that like last day, like, you know, Destin like winning two back and Gabe and Dare like top four in the two fly, that was like crazy. And then that last relay also was amazing, like so close.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, and then
Yeah,
that
that was
was it.
nuts.
It was insane. I mean, all the relays were like so fast. I'm like, I'm just really shocked. That's one thing that shocked me at NC's is like the depth of speed is incredible. Like, there's so many people that go like 41 or 42 in the 100 free. Like, it's crazy. Like, there's more people that go like 41 or 42 at NC's than people that go like 47, which is like the conversion in like short course meters. It's like insane how deep every event is, and so the relays are like insane to watch because of that depth. And yeah, I was just like watching and cheering for the guys after that. And yeah, I think we clinched it right before the last relay, so that was like really really cool.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised that it took until after the 200 fly for Cal to clinch it, right? To they could have DQ'd the relay and still
Yeah.
won, but because they were ahead pretty much the whole meet, but you guys didn't again clinch it until like that last individual event. Um, so it was an exciting meet.
Me and Robin Hanson were like counting on the last day, like on all the events. We were like, because we were done, and we were just counting, and we are like, okay, if we score this many points here, we win it. And then we're like, oh, it was like 2 points too short. And it was like, oh, and then ASU like gets someone, Leon wins the two breast, and so it was like really like pretty nerve wracking until the end, until we clinched it, and then it was like obviously like great. But I mean, when we knew we clinched it, like the coaches didn't want us to like go into celebration and stuff because we still had that last relay. They still
Mhm.
wanted to like break that record, win that relay, and like finish it in style. So we were like staying really calm, like getting behind those four guys that were on the relay, like trying to give them all our energy so that they could like go out there and like kill it, which they did, but got beaten by fortunately 1/100th.
Oh yeah, 1/100. That yeah. I mean, what a finale. So so that was NCAA's. I mean, you have this, whirlwind college or U.S. college experience.
Yeah.
So now what? What's next for you?
Yeah, now I'm kind of in a tricky spot because obviously I loved Cal, and like if I'd like to, I'd probably like to stay there and train there, if that was possible, because it was like incredible. The training group is like amazing. So um I just love that place, and like I don't really think there's like a lot like a better training group in the world. Like every single event, backstroke, fly, freestyle, IM, doesn't matter, breaststroke, we're like so good on every single event, that it's like really inspiring. You like look over to your left and you see like someone going fast on a backstroke set, and you look over to your right and you see like, I don't know, Gabe Jett like going really fast on some freestyle stuff or some fly stuff. Then I'm doing like a distance set, and then you see the sprinters, Jack and Bjorn just like killing it on their sprint sets, and it's like really really inspiring. Like it really gets the best out of you. But then also Belgium's like now trying to rebuild their whole program. They bring in Fred Vernu as the new national head coach. They have a lot of new policies and stuff. They're trying to build like a whole new team. So I'm still unsure about what I'm doing next year. I'm like now trying to focus on my trials, trying to get to Worlds, and like perform well at Worlds if I'm able to qualify. Um, and yeah, but it's kind of and also like going into the Olympic year, like as my dad as my coach should be obviously like amazing to like train with my dad as my coach into the Olympics. So it's kind of have a lot of options, and I need to make a decision, and I'm not really sure yet what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, which is totally understandable. I mean, it's all three of those sound like really great options, right? And I guess that's a good problem to have. But like you said, there's no real rush there. And right now you're focused on the task at hand. I did get a couple questions from Instagram that I want to ask you because there were some good ones, suggestions from the crowd that we got from this morning. First of which was from a former Cal Bear, uh, Kyle Millis. What's harder, making a 30-foot putt for the win or swimming the mile at NCAAs?
I mean, swimming the mile, you just have to, I don't know, like making a 30-foot putt is really hard. Like swimming the mile is fine, to be honest, but like making a 30-foot putt for the win is like that's I don't know, that's like maybe it's like a 3% make rate. And if you yeah, I would say making a 30-foot putt is harder.
Interesting. Okay. The weirdest class you took at Cal. What was your class schedule like at Cal?
So I was taking 4 classes. I had business negotiating, design thinking, and design thinking. Then I had market research and finance for entrepreneurs. The weirdest one was definitely design. I mean, still is because I'm still taking it now.
Hmm.
Um, is definitely design thinking. It's not something like I did my undergrad in finance, and so I'm like a finance and numbers guy. So like design thinking was like a very creative process and like kind of outside of what I usually do. So that was like probably the weirdest one.
What does design thinking even mean? I don't
I don't
know
know.
what
We're
that.
like it's like prototyping and stuff, and yeah. So it's like a lot of group projects where you're working on some prototypes. For example, we are like prototyping for an app right now with my group. So for an app to like for athletes to be able to like get feedback on video and stuff.
Okay. Nice. Is have you enjoyed the Bay Area outside of Calman swimming? Because so you're working on an app, you're in Silicon Valley, you're right next to San Francisco. It's a cool area where you get a lot of exposure to a lot of tech, among other things that you don't really get anywhere else.
Yeah, I haven't really traveled that much around, but I mean, what I was really impressed by at Cal was like the how multicultural it is. Like people from around the world like coming there to study, and like really a bunch of really smart people. Just like I mean, the computer science department is just like insane. Like we have some of the guys on the team that are doing computer science, and some of the stuff they're doing is like incomprehensible. Like it's really, really, really hard. And yeah, I've really enjoyed being in like an environment with like a lot of intelligent people, a lot of people from around the world. So yeah, I've really enjoyed that.
I lived in Berkeley for a little bit, and that was definitely my favorite part of it. Was just the school as well as the town. You can see how multicultural it is and how diverse it the school is, and how that spreads out into the rest of the city and the area. um, we had another one. Is Gabe Jett good at Mario Kart?
Um, I don't really know, but I don't think he'd be that good. I don't think he'd be that good. No, I mean, he's really good at swimming, and then he thinks he's really good at DJing. I mean, he DJs the whole. I mean, all, in the house the whole time, you know. But like, no, he's not that good at Mario Kart. He put all his talent into swimming. I'm just
Nice.
I'm just messing with Gary because like he's a really good friend of mine, and it's kind of funny because we're like some people say he's a little bit cocky, and some people say that like he's very very confident and stuff. But I really like that about him, and we were having like some like bets on who would win like the 5 free prelims and stuff, and we were like trash talking the whole time. So it was pretty funny.
Nice.
Gabe's great.
It's always good to have a little bit of cockiness, I feel like,
Yeah.
because that just makes the competition more fun. It makes it that much better. who's who is your this is a question for me. I'm just curious. Who's your best roommate? You have 8 roommates in the sophomore class at Cal. Who's the best one?
So I live on the bottom floor with Gabe. So it's probably I spend most. I mean, probably Gabe. Yeah, probably Gabe chat. And I mean, I'm really close to all the guys that live there, obviously, and we have a great time. But I would say I'm closest to Gabe.
That's great. Nice. So Lucas, you're focusing on two free, four free. You're trying to make world champs at your trials meet in just a couple weeks. What do you feel like you're going to take from this NCAA season with you into this long course season?
Yeah, I mean, I think the like one thing I learned at Cal that kind of helped me at both PACs and NCs was preparation. So I used to I don't know why I used to do this, but like I used to go to the pool kind of like I'd wake up at the hotel, go to the pool kind of whenever, like kind of look at the clock, do whatever warm up I wanted to do, and then just like hop in the water. It was kind of wasn't really structured, and I wasn't like probably wasn't preparing well enough to like get everything out of it. And here, like the coaches were like big on like having trying to have a routine and like follow that routine. And so I would like wake up 3 hours before my race, and then have the same thing for breakfast, do the same dynamic warm up, do the same warm up in the water, put my suit on at the same time and stuff. And all that preparation stuff I think is going to really help me in like the higher pressure meets, because you have your routine, what you have to do. You're like just following, you're just following steps. And I think that that's going to help me a lot, especially if it gets like pretty nerve wracking at my trials meet.
Yeah. What's when you're swimming a two free or a four free, what's your race strategy like? Being a distance guy and putting in the yardage that you do. Are you someone who's trying to go out fast and make a statement, or are you someone who's much more of a back half swimmer?
I'm usually like, I feel like if you're a distance swimmer, you have to like go out like much closer to like your top speed, because I don't know, like you'll be out of the race if you like take it out slow, and that's not really something I wanna. I want to be like, I kind of like swimming, in like white water, like at the front, and like not really. So I usually take it out pretty fast. Like I would take it out like close to 2 seconds from my 100 PB and to the feet in 200. So um, yeah, it hurts a lot more usually on the last like 35 or whatever, but I feel like taking it out usually gives me the best chance to like swim my best.
Have you ever puked after a race?
Yeah, I actually like puke a lot. Yeah, it's like I don't know. I probably don't digest very well. I actually puked after the mile at Pac-12s. It wasn't great.
I feel like there are some people like if I'm puking, it means like I'm deathly ill. Like I almost never throw up. I never when I was a swimmer, I was not a very good swimmer, but like I never puked after anything. But I feel like there's some swimmers who like that's like a routine for them,
Yeah,
right?
I feel
Like it happens
when
often.
the lactate levels get so high, and you're like, um, you barely can get out of the water, after your race and stuff, and then yeah, it just comes out.
Do you have a favorite event in long course, the two or the four?
Um, I mean, I don't have a favorite event, but I have an event where I have more focused, which is a four free. I'm like probably more focused on the four free, and I think that like long term, that's going to be my best event, I think. Um, and yeah, I really like the four free because it's kind of you can swim it so many different ways, and you get have like people like go like up from the 100 all the way to the 400. Like I mean, Popovich is like 46.8 world record holder in 100, right? But like he can swim a really good 400. And you have people like in the past that have been able to do that. Like Peter Van den Hoogen, man, used to like swim a really fast 400, And then you have people that come all the way down from like the 1500 and also go like 344, It's like kind of when you see these guys that go like these milers like Wellbrock and and even romantic, and you see like they go like 344 or 343. It's like ridiculously fast. And I think that's my favorite event because I feel like there's more of like the range from where people come from is wider. So like in the two free, well, you have people that come from the 100 and people from the 400. So it's like a smaller range. But there you have people that come from the 100 and people that come from the mile, and even some do like open water and still swim a really fast 400. So that's what I think is like really nice with the four. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to like putting a little more training, like 400 freestyle training over the summer, like long course stuff. Because I think that's going to be my best event. Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Summer McIntosh? What
I
she's done
mean,
this week?
so I'm like a swim nerd, right? So I watch everything. I watch every single race. I do like race analysis and stuff. And I'm like watching this girl like go the four free, and I'm like, so she's not that tall. She's not that strong. Her stroke is like very good, but it's not like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And she's going like 356. Oh, it's like it's insane. It's like not that much slower than me, you know. I'm like, wow. She'd be like right behind the flags, you know, when I touch or something. And she'd hang for a pretty long time. And just going doing that in the four free, doing that like in 2 a.m., 4 a.m. And the way like it's the way, you know, it kind of reminds me of like Leon, how like they take out their races. You're like she's going out like 26-8 on
Yeah.
fly in 2 a.m. And I mean, and like 58.5 to the or something like that to the 100. It's like ridiculous. And she just holds on, and she just like it's very very impressive. And I have a little sister that's actually pretty much exactly the same age as Summer, and she's like very inspired by her. And I think the way the sport is going is really great at the moment. You know, we got like a lot of young people that are going like really fast, um, just like pushing boundaries, and the depth in all the events is great. You know, we have like all the continents are swimming well. You know, America's swimming well, Europe is swimming well, Australia has a great contingent. You know, Asia's really fast in a lot of events. So it's like I think swimming is in a really cool spot at the moment.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, it's judging from NCAA's, I think it's the fastest it's ever been.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think we'll see that play out on the world stage in long course as well. I'm curious if you talked to Shaban, because in the 200 free, Summer is now ahead of her by 1/100th.
I know. So we're talking with Siobhan, and she was like, "Oh well, it's okay. I can go faster now, so it's fine. I'll go faster than that." But I mean, I feel like it's only like good motivation, you know. It's like she's training right now, and she's training hard, and she sees that. And just like I feel like, you know, if I see I just saw, you know, Lucas Martins goes like 343 in like this random meet in Magdeburg, you know. It's like this is I mean, it's really like goals to like try to get to, you know, like being able to like continually during the whole year, you know, like swim so fast is it's great. And I think that's a great position for swimming.
Absolutely. I mean, Summer's obviously just an anomaly right now, but I mean, Shaban is like one of the best at
Yeah, I
swimming
mean,
fast all year
she's like
round.
a year. Yeah, first of all, she's like so fast in season all the time. And I mean, it was like a year and a half ago when she like literally won 2 silver medal at the Olympic Games, you know. And we're a year and a half out, and I'm sure she's eyeing to repeat that, or maybe even step up from Tokyo. And I mean, having, you know, the four free is going to be I mean incredible with Titmus, Ledecky, and McIntosh. The two free, you know, Siobhan is going to be up there. Some of the Australian girls are going to be up there. um yeah, Summer's going to be up there. And I mean the same with the guys, you know, like I think Popovic going so fast this summer kind of like reset the bar for everyone. You know, like Tom Dean won in 144 too, right? And like now, well, at the Olympics, and it's 142.9 now. well, they're probably like, Tom Dean, Duncan Scott, they're probably thinking like, probably need to go 142 if I want to win this. So I think having these individuals put these kind of break these boundaries and put the bar so high kind of brings the whole sport up. So yeah.
Absolutely. All right. I've kept you for a long time. Last question. What do you think it takes for the 400 freestyle world record to get broken on the men's side? Paul Biederman's 340.0. How do you
Yeah.
think someone has to swim that to break that world record?
So he broke it. So he went 340.07, going 150.5, I think, 150, maybe even 150, maybe 151, and came back in like a 25. And I don't think we're gonna see that anymore from, just from they with I think the suits like kind of helped it a little bit. And like they were swimming like 56s in the middle there, 56.5s, like pretty easily, and like he could sprint that last 50. I feel like if we want to go 339, like the way everyone's splitting to go 341 now is like they're going like 149 or 150 point low and they're going 341. So I feel like you have to be out like 148 high, 149 low, and then so probably like a 53, 53 mid, 56.0, 56, 55 high maybe, and then a 55 low, and then come back into 53. And that's a 339. And I actually see like some people being able to do that, and like that's one of my goals, is like to try to get to compete with these people.
I love it. I'm rooting for you because I've wanted to see that record get broken for 14 years.
Yeah.
I remember watching it on TV the day it did, and it was wild.
Rowdy was saying, I really don't see this record being broken. Like, I don't think this is doable. And you kind of see Biederman like creep up on that line, and he's right on the world record line, and he breaks it by one hundredth. But yeah, it was a great race. And but there's so much history too with the 4 free, dating back to, it's probably one of, I feel like back in the day, it was probably one of the like most blue ribbon events, and having Kieran Perkins go 343 in like a speedo, and like in 1994 in Rome, and then like Thorpe taking that to like whole new levels, and now hasn't been broken in 14 years. Are we going to see like a big jump again? That'd be very, very cool to see.
I agree. I feel like that, the 200, 400 freestyle on the men's side, just internationally has lagged since those 2009 records got broken, since Paul just raised the bar impossibly high. Like, we've only now seen, people creeping back down to the low 340s, and Popovich getting into the 142, even 144 lows at the Olympics. We were like, oh, we're seeing some life.
It's actually interesting because like, 2009, Biederman goes 142 in like a full suit, right? And then 2012, Yannick Agnel goes 143.1 in like a little Speedo Valor, like just like a little small suit. And
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people thought, okay, well, this record, like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. And then it takes like a whole 10 years for anyone to go faster than what Agnel did, And it's kind of zigzagging a bit, but I think now we're like getting close to it, and it'd be really cool to see these two records like going down. Because I think there's, records are meant to be broken, and 14 years I feel like is long enough. So it'd be cool to see it maybe this year at Worlds or next year at the Olympics if one of the two can go down.
Agreed. Yeah. So I've got my fingers crossed for those. Lucas, it's been awesome talking to you, hearing about your swim journey, and just nerding out about swim stuff with you. So thank you so much for the time.
Thank you for having me. It was a really cool talk. I really enjoyed it. And I just hope SwimSwam continues to like put out some good content, because as a swim nerd, I get myself, I catch myself watching that maybe too often sometimes. And And yeah, it's great. So I love what you guys do. So thank you for having me.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.